What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast, what the world is listening to. I'm your host, the Hakamadi Ant C, and you are joining us for our WrestleMania review. We're going to be covering every single WrestleMania up to 39 and giving my take on what I think is the best WrestleMania of all time. I'll be rating them, rating the matches, and covering everything WrestleMania. So the first episode of WrestleMania 1 was published. It's in the archives. You can check it out. We're going to move right on to WrestleMania 2 now from April 7th, 1986. WrestleMania was held in 3 different locations. They were held in Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. And for each arena, they had different matches and different announcers to have at the event. So the first start of the show, we're live in New York with Vince McMahon. And Ray Charles sings America the Beautiful. It's cool to see someone as legendary as Ray Charles be a part of WrestleMania and to hear him perform the national anthem. So after Ray Charles does his bit, Vince comes in and welcomes Susan St. James, who was a famous actress at the time, to be guest color commentator for the night. We see Roddy Piper backstage trash talking Mr. T, and Piper says he wouldn't cut his hair like an Indian and paint myself black like Mr. T. So very harsh words from Piper. Now we're looking at it in the lens from 2023. A little inappropriate, but this is what wrestling was back in 86. So our first match of the night, we have the Magnificent Morocco with Mr. Fuji taking on Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Mr. Wonderful nails a backdrop and an arm drag. Morocco hits a Samoan drop. Both men fight on the floor and they get counted out in a very quick match. It ended up being a no contest, double count out. I give this match a 1 out of 10 because the wrestlers really didn't give much. It was just them fighting around the ring and quick match, not a lot to bring in. Next, we see a promo from Mr. T, and we move on to our WWE Intercontinental Championship match. The Intercontinental Champion, the Macho Man Randy Savage, with Miss Elizabeth defending against George the Animal Steele. A lot of Randy Savage starts running away from Steele. Steele loves Miss Elizabeth, and he doesn't like the way that Savage is treating her, so that's what sort of brings us to this match here. Steele bites Randy's leg. Randy nails a flying crossbody and gets a 2 count. Randy nails a knee lift to the back of Steele. Randy grabs flowers, but then George Steele hits Randy with the flowers. Steele breaks open the turnbuckle pad and starts to stuff the stuffing of the turnbuckle pad in Randy's mouth. Randy nails a body slam and a flying elbow drop, which gets a 2. And the end comes when Randy Savage rolls up George Steele, and Savage puts his feet on the ropes to get the win. I gave that match a 4 out of 10. Some decent action between Savage and George Steele, but it wasn't anything great, but better than the first opening match. Next, we got George Wells taking on Jake the Snake Roberts. George nails a Hurricane Rana. Jake rakes the eyes and ends up nailing a DDT, and Jake gets the win in another quick match here. I gave this match a 2 out of 10. After Jake Robert puts the snake on George Wells, and George Wells starts to foam at the mouth, and definitely a sight to see here. WrestleMania 2 with the snake's involvement. We have Joan Rivers now coming out to the ring, and she introduces the celebrities involved in the next match. We have a boxing match between Rowdy Roddy Piper with Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. and Lou Duva versus Mr. T with Joe Frazier and the Haiti Kid. I gave this match 3 out of 10. Mr. T got the win by DQ after Roddy Piper attacked him and threw a chair at T. It's good to see Piper in the ring, but not a lot of action here again. We then move to the Chicago arena at the Rosemont Horizon. Kathy Lee Crosby does commentary, and we have the WWE Women's title on the line. The champion, the Fabulous Moolah, defending against Velvet McIntyre. Velvet nails a drop kick, and then she misses a flying splash, allowing Moolah to pin her. Another quick match here at Mania. I gave it a 1 out of 10 because there really was nothing in that match. Next, we have the special flag match. Nikolai Volkov with Classy Freddie Blassie taking on Corporal Kirshner. Corporal nails uppercuts, and he starts to bleed after Nikolai Volkov attacks him on the floor. And then Corporal Kirshner grabs Freddie Blassie's cane and hits Nikolai with it and gets a 3 count. I gave this match a 2 out of 10 because there was some action, but again, not a lot to fulfill me. We then have our main event here for the Chicago Arena, the NFL versus WWE Battle Royal. We see Pedro Morales in there, Hillbilly Jim, Iron Sheik, Ernie Holmes, the Killer Bees, Big John Studd, Bill Fralick, Russ Francis, Bruno San Martino, the Hart Foundation, Andre the Giant, and William Refrigerator Perry. Andre gets the win after he military presses Bret Hart onto the floor. He's the last man standing. This match was another 2 out of 10 match. Really not a lot in this one, just a basic battle royal with Andre getting the win. I stand corrected. That wasn't the main event of Chicago. This is the tag team titles, the Dream Team, the champions with Johnny Valentine. That's Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus Beefcake taking on the British Bulldogs. This is Davey Boy Smith and Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid. And they are accompanied by Captain Lou Albano and Ozzy Osbourne. This match saw a lot of action. It was probably my match of the night here. We see Dynamite Kid slamming Greg Valentine into the post and nails a snap suplex. Davey Boy with a delayed suplex to Greg to Valentine gets a 2. Dynamite Kid military presses Brutus Beefcake. Davey Boy Smith nails a cradle suplex to Brutus Beefcake and gets a 2. Valentine nails a flying forearm. The Bulldog nail a double shoulder breaker. Valentine hits a power driver to Dynamite Kid and gets a 2. Davey Boy with a running power slam to Valentine. DK being the Dynamite Kid, pushes Greg Valentine into the corner, and he's able to get the pinfall victory over Valentine. New WWE Tag Team Champions and the British Bulldogs. I gave the match a 6 out of 10 because even though it wasn't fantastic, there were some things I didn't like. It was a good tag match and probably the match of the night. Afterwards, Ozzy Osbourne grabs the mic and says, the British Bulldogs forever. It was good to see Ozzy in there getting involved in WWE. We then move to our third arena, the LA Sports Arena with Elvira, Jesse the Body Ventura, and Lord Alfred Hayes welcome us to the arena. We have Hercules Hernandez taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Steamboat nails a chop block and 2 arm drags. Hercules sends Steamboat into the post and nails a clothesline. Hercules then nails an elbow drop and gets a 2. Hercules lands a military slam. He goes for a flying splash, but Ricky Steamboat rolls out of the way and gets the knees up instead, and Steamboat nails a flying crossbody, and he gets the victory. Ricky Steamboat got the win. I give that a 5 out of 10. Decent action between the two. I wasn't expecting it to be that good, but it was decent. Next, we have adorable Adrian and Adonis with Jimmy Hart taking on Uncle Elmer. Elmer rips at Adrian's dress. Adrian gets trapped in the ropes. Elmer lands an avalanche in the corner, but Adrian Adonis pokes Elmer's eyes and nails a flying headbutt, and Adrian Adonis gets the victory here. I gave that a 2 out of 10 because, again, not a lot of action and really wasn't worth anything. Next, we got a special tag match. Terry and Hoss Funk with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, taking on Tio Santana and the Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog tosses Hoss into Terry. We see Junkyard Dog slamming Terry Funk into the corner 10 times. Terry nails a running forearm. Tito nails a running forearm to Hoss. Terry Funk breaks it up. Jimmy Hart kicks Tito Santana on the floor. Hoss Funk nails a double arm suplex to Tito and gets a 2. Junkyard Dog backdrops Terry to the floor. He being Junkyard Dog, slams Terry Funk on the table. He hits Jimmy Hart. Tito applies a figure 4 to Hoss, but then Terry grabs the megaphone and nails Junkyard Dog with it, and the Funks get the win here. I gave that match a 5 out of 10 because it was decent tag action, and it was great to see Terry and Hoss Funk involved at WrestleMania. And we have made to our main event of WrestleMania 2, the WWE Championship on the line in a special steel cage match. King Kong Bundy with Bobby the Brain Heenan taking on WWE Champion Hulk Hogan. King Kong Bundy injured Hulk Hogan's ribs the past week on Saturday night's main event, and Hogan's been training for this match to take on Bundy in the cage. Hogan nails a clothesline in the corner to start. Bundy nails a body slam. Bundy rips at Hulk Hogan's medical tape and chokes him with it. Hogan sends Bundy into the cage. Bundy starts to bleed. Hulk sends him into the cage again 3 times. Hulk lifts up King Kong Bundy, but Bundy's weight drops on top of Hogan and he falls. Bundy nails two avalanches in the corner and then a splash. Hogan slams King Kong Bundy into the finally after a body slam after not being able to do it earlier. Hulk nails a leg drop and then Hulk kicks Bundy off the cage and Hogan escapes. I give this match a 4 out of 5. Nothing great. It was better than the WrestleMania 1 main event, I think, because there was actually more action. But again, this really didn't do it for me. After the match, Hulk Hogan attacks Bobby Heenan and sends Bobby Heenan into the cage, and all is right with the world in 1986 after this. So I give this WrestleMania a I give it a 3 out of 10. There really wasn't a lot of good matches on here. The only match that I really was invested in was a tag title match, and that's pretty sad for WrestleMania. It is only the second WrestleMania, and Wrestling the Eve wasn't everyone's favorite, but for what it was what it was. Next, we're going to be covering WrestleMania 3 live at Pontiac Silverdome for 1987. I'm excited for that one. And you could check out WrestleMania 1, the archive. You can check out our other videos on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube. Check us out. Until next time, stay safe and stay uncensored.